Welcome back everyone to another video on my channel. I was just kind of thinking because this past weekend I got to go to the Kirtland YSA conference. It was an amazing experience. And I got to see the Kirtland Temple again. I love that temple. Just the power of singing the Spirit of God in that temple is amazing. And I just wanted to make a quick video because I want to talk about the new temple that is going to be opening in Cleveland. And at the moment they're doing the open house. If you are in the Cleveland area or the Kirtland area or anywhere in Ohio, I would highly recommend going to the open house because that temple is amazing. But the thing I wanted to say is that temple is the fulfillment of many prayers, hopes, and dreams of our earliest saints in the church who lived in Kirtland. And when they were driven out of Kirtland, they didn't really know what was going to happen, but they put their faith in God. They sacrificed. And they sacrificed even in Kirtland to make that temple possible to worship in, to get the revelations that God wanted them to get. And it is amazing to me that all the sacrifices of those saints has come into the fulfillment of being the Kirtland Temple in Kirtland being owned by the church again, and now the Cleveland Temple, which has been built, and they're currently doing the open house. So I would highly recommend try and get there if you can. And those two places are very sacred because Kirtland is one of the earliest places that members of the church lived outside of New York and Pennsylvania. And for many of us in the church, that place is sacred to us, not because it's just church history, but because it's also our family history and the history of every single member who has sacrificed so much for those sacred places. And to me, the Cleveland Temple isn't just sacred because I have it as part of church history for myself, but it's also the fulfillment of what my ancestors sacrificed. How they went through these trials and tribulations. And I myself may go through trials and tribulations, but I can look forward and say, in the future, I'm learning something from this trial and tribulation that I'm facing right now. And it's an amazing thing because it may not bless my life right then and there. It may bless it later on, or the lives of my descendants, or their descendants, going on and on. And that is the wonderful thing about the church, and how we have two temples within 30 miles of each other. Or I think it's 30 miles. It may be 30 minutes. I don't exactly recall off the top of my head at the moment. But it's just something I wanted to talk about, and I'm just so thankful that we have that temple, because now we can have two temples within the same area. One is the very first temple that was ever created by the church, and another one where we can appreciate and think back on the sacrifices of those early saints that had to leave Kirtland and their beloved temple. And I love the Kirtland temple for so many reasons. I love the Cleveland temple for so many reasons now too. And I would say that the Cleveland temple is one of my favorite temples, because, or my second favorite temple in Ohio, because it is so close to where the saints started the church into becoming what it is today. We got many revelations there. Christ himself appeared in that temple. It is the only place on earth where we can say without a shadow of a doubt, within feet where Christ stood. We could say, hey, Christ stood here in Galilee, but we don't know for sure exactly within feet where he stood. And he showed himself at the Kirtland temple. And we can say without a shadow of a doubt, within feet where he stood, which is amazing to me. And from the moment that temple in Kirtland was dedicated to today, when this temple is having its open house in Cleveland, to the moment it's dedicated, this temple was pretty much the start of it was when the Kirtland temple was built. We wouldn't have this temple without the Kirtland temple. And we wouldn't have the temples without the restoration. And we wouldn't have the restoration without Joseph Smith going into that grove in Palmyra and praying and asking God, what church should I join? And God, the Father, and Jesus Christ appeared to him and said not to join any church, because they were going to have Joseph bring back the true church. All churches have some truth to them. But the wonderful thing about the restoration is it's the true church on the earth today. And it's just amazing to me how we went from the Kirtland temple back then being the only temple to now finally having the Cleveland temple right there in Cleveland, so close to where the very first temple ever made by our church is standing. So if you ever get the chance, even after the open house, even if you don't have a temple to recommend, just stop, walk the grounds, admire the beauty, and try and remember what those early saints went through. Their sacrifices make the Kirtland temple sacred and the Cleveland temple. This is Captain Trox signing off on another video.